about to renew acquaintances. The winner of this game will play the winner of Texas and Ole Miss. That is up next here in Greenville, South Carolina. Championship tomorrow, 3 Eastern on ESPN. The two legendary coaches, Kim Mulkey, a 4-time national champion, Dawn Staley, a 3-time national champion, Ryan Ruocco, the Hall of Famers, Rebecca Lobo, Holly Rowe with you. Appreciate you hanging out with us for this terrific contest. 18 straight wins for South Carolina against LSU. It has been 5,169 days since LSU beat South Carolina. Does that change today? Here we go. The rivalry renewed between the Gamecocks and the Tigers.
LSU starting out in the man-to-man defense, switching on to Tessa Johnson. Nice finish, or nice look for a caught inside.
Couldn't finish the first 2 times. Another chance here. Latson dishes underneath. That time, O'Cott will finish.
And of course, in the meeting on February 14th, a couple of the big stories. One, Tessa Johnson was terrific in that game. Who can guard Tessa?
And O'Cott was excellent as well at 12 points, 17 rebounds. An early board there for O'Cott. Quickly down the floor, Latson finds the cutter. It's O'Cott again. Dish it out, Edwards, mid-range, won't go.
Joyce Edwards was so good yesterday on both ends of the floor in South Carolina's win over Kentucky. Played with so much energy.
Dawn Staley telling us she loved her activity as Michaela Williams can't finish, and O'Cott another rebound.
You know, South Carolina likes to push the pace end to end.
Edwards draws 2. O'Cott traveled, and South Carolina turns it over. Who can guard Tessa? That was the question Kim Mulkey asked back on Valentine's Day. And it has sparked many t-shirts.
Lots of merch.
I hope Tessa or Kim has trademarked it.
Right.
Well, you know, the government isn't exactly snappy with that process, so.
It's a better reflection on Tessa, however.
Here's Williams. Kaya Johnson leaves it way short. Tessa saves it to O'Cott. Here's Latson, who's distributing, was terrific yesterday. Latson gonna take it herself.
Latson's so good when she gets out in the open floor. Nice outlet pass by O'Cott that time to help her get that momentum.
Latson had 6 assists in yesterday's win as Richard, who really struggled from the floor in the first meeting between these teams, which was 1 of 10, hits her first look today. O'Cott pounding it underneath, couldn't finish it.
Nice double team from Flau'jae Johnson that time to come in and help on O'Cott.
Flau'jae spinning, laying, got fouled. And free throws coming for Flau'jae Johnson.
South Carolina can be deadly in the open floor, and it all starts with the outlet pass from O'Cott, and then Tanaya Latson crossover. It's where she's been so good throughout her career, is out in transition and off the bounce.
That foul is given to Joyce Edwards, her first. As Flau'jae sinks the free throw. When these teams met back on February 14th, Flau'jae Johnson had a chance to tie or put LSU in front with 45 seconds to go and missed both free throws. Hits her first 2 from the line here today. Here's Raven Johnson cupping it up and in.
Really nice job by Raven Johnson, just turning the corner and getting an easy look.
Oh, Flau'jae, the start to stop, and she is fouled by O'Cott. Just a terrific move from Flau'jae Johnson.
See the Raven Johnson on one end, the screen by Tessa, defense gets caught up, and Raven has a clear line to the basket.
Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, after Flau'jae Johnson missed those huge free throws, Kim Mulkey in her film session a couple of days later said, listen, I want to acknowledge she got herself to the free throw line. it was a positive, and those missed shots were not why we lost that game. We missed 9 free throws against South Carolina, but Flau'jae said, can I address the team? Coach, I want you to keep coaching us hard. I want you to keep holding me accountable, and Flau'jae has vowed that she was going to be better and be accountable the rest of the season, and this is a great start for that young woman at the line. Perfect so far.
Yeah, especially, Ollie, when you see those numbers, how much she struggled from the line since those missed free throws. Really big for her to hit her first 4 here today. Here's Flau'jae. Lost the handle. Raven Johnson comes up with it, running with Latson. Latson dives in and is fouled. And free throws for Latson. This is what Ollie was talking about. Here were those misses in the Valentine's Day matchup between LSU and South Carolina. And it's South Carolina going on to win. And it was Flau'jae who took over in those final minutes of the fourth to even create that opportunity for LSU as they were coming back.
We were talking to Kim Mulkey before today's game, and you asked her, what's your biggest takeaway from that first meeting? And she said, we got to make free throws.
Yeah.
And she wasn't just talking about Flau'jae. As Holly pointed out, it was the 9 missed free throws in that game.
Latson off to a good start today. And Malaysia Fulwiley into the game for LSU. That pass too tall for Williams as LSU turns it over. Fulwiley facing her former team for the first time back on February 14th. Struggled in that one against South Carolina, a team which she starred, winning a national championship as a freshman. Was 1 of 8 from the floor, 6 points, but since has averaged 21 points a game, 48% from the floor. Was excellent yesterday in the win against Oklahoma. Kim Mulkey telling us before the game, Malaysia has found her stride. Here's Raven Johnson off on a 3. Dowda got a hand on it, nothing more.
Keep in mind, Malaysia Fulwiley was the most outstanding performer of the SEC tournament her freshman year.
Williams. Crowd wanted to travel, as you can hear, very heavy South Carolina crowd here in Greenville, not too far from Columbia. Here's Raven, enters the paint, little push shot is good. 10-6 lead for the Gamecocks. Fulwiley, back ironing off. Joyner gives LSU another chance. Fulwiley, spinning, banking, and finishing. South Carolina quickly down the floor. Latson sheds her defender. Tanaya Latson, excellent in this opening quarter. Fulwiley races to the rim.
Both of these teams love to get up and down the floor. What a great pace here to start this one.
These two teams have tended to deliver on expectations in recent years in these matchups. That is going to be a foul on Williams.
Tanaya Latson has done a really good job getting out in the open floor and then creating and finishing once she does so. And then Malaysia Fulwiley just puts on the jet so quick, exploding to the rim.
Fulwiley, big performance yesterday as Latson checks out. Johnson having trouble getting it in. Here's Tessa Johnson, denied by Knox.
See both coaches going to their benches relatively early in this game, understanding they played yesterday. They're both hopeful that they will be playing for a championship tomorrow, want to be really smart with minutes. Grace Knox just there to meet Tessa Johnson on that one.
It's Maddie McDaniel in. She gave South Carolina really strong minutes in the win against Kentucky yesterday in the quarters. Here's McDaniel. 7 to shoot. McDaniel can't hit the 3. Joyner the rebound. Flau'jae Draws two, knocks the cutter, banks it in. Tied at 12 here in the first.
Nicely done by Flau'jae Johnson. She rejected the wing on ball screen, penetrated, drew two defenders, and then found Grace Knox.
Flau'jae, a projected lottery pick in this upcoming WNBA draft. Here's Raven Johnson into traffic. Good hands from Edwards. Got denied by Knox. And then a held ball. Possession now belongs to LSU. Tied at 12. About 6 minutes into the first.
LSU loves to run the wing on ball. Flau'jae Johnson rejects it. Draws two. Grace Knox right there to finish.
Here once again as we check in with Holly.
Well, my Malaysia told me yesterday, I'm back to myself. I'm back to being who I am on the court. And that is a confident, fast-paced player who makes dynamic plays in transition. Kim Mulkey said she has really come into her own stride since the Ole Miss game. She sat Michaela Williams in the fourth quarter of that game, and Flau'jae had time on the court with the starters. That has helped propel her into this new confident version we're seeing of her the last few games.
Thank you very much, Hal. Very significant foul there. That's going to be number 2 on Okot.
Looked like South Carolina was, after extending their pressure into the full court, it looked like we were back into a 2-3 zone there. Tough to rebound. Out of the zone, Joyner gets it.
Dee Kantner, our rules analyst, is with us. Dee, first glance, looked like ball. Do you think she got enough arm to warrant a foul there?
What isn't in her favor, she does not have her arms in a vertical position, so that's what the official sees. It does look like ball. I can't tell from that angle. If she follows through and hits on the wrist, prevents, ball projecting to the hip, to the rim.
Let's take another look, Dee.
Notice those angles down. That's not vertical. It looks on the arm there.
Yeah, all right. A good angle to show it. So a second foul on Okot. Thank you, Dee. And an angle to show it was an accurate call. McDaniel into the paint. Can't bank it in. Joyner's been a major factor on the glass early in this game for LSU. For Wiley hopping short. Knox storms in and is out of bounds. It'll be South Carolina basketball.
The way Grace Knox, though, pursues the basketball, even when it's out of her area, she just comes down from the free throw line area when that shot goes up. Just look where she starts. She's at the three-point line when the shot goes up and just explodes in. It would have been her board if she hadn't lost her footing.
Knox, the freshman. An incredible athlete. Here's Latson. Latson puts it down in traffic and then draws the foul as Tanaya Latson will go to the line. And the foul is called on Wiley. That'll be her first. She dealt with some foul trouble yesterday, but still put on a historic performance. Wiley was the first player since at least the 09-10 season to score 22 points, 8 assists, 3 blocks in a game off the bench.
You see now South Carolina going with a little bit of a smaller lineup with Joyce Edwards at the 5 spot, McKeer at the 4.
Here's Wiley in space, kicking out. Richard will pull way off the mark. Flau'jae Johnson flags it down. Another chance for LSU. Knox trying to post Raven Johnson. Flau'jae can't finish the lay. Raven out to Latson. Latson has 8 points in this first quarter. 2:30 to go in the first. Raven Johnson will pull and hit.
How about Raven Johnson? That beginning of that possession, South Carolina looked a little out of sorts. She called for the basketball, called for the screen, and then drained it.
Flau'jae with a beautiful drive. Last meeting, Raven Johnson, terrific against LSU, had 19 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. was 3 of 5 from 3. Latson, Shore.
LSU looks like they're trying to catch their breath a little bit right here. This has been such a fast-paced game.
Just saw that with Flau'jae Johnson right in front of us. Richard, no. Follows it up. She was 1 of 10 against South Carolina back on February 14th. For Wiley. McKeer knocks it into the backcourt. 4 to shoot. For Wiley with 2 to shoot. Will put it up. Way off the mark. And for Wiley was trying to tell Joyner, look, I was trying to tell you to set the screen for me to shoot. And Joyner was saying, look at the shot clock. And for Wiley saying, yeah, that's why I wanted your screen. And now Kim Mulkey saying, hey, you're not being subbed out. Joyner, you're still in.
I think Kim Mulkey does need to take Joyner out here, though, because she has lost her cool a little bit. She's frustrated. She's jawing at her teammate. Flau'jae Johnson had to come over and kind of try to settle her down.
And my lady for Wiley is right about that. Joyner was pointing to the shot clock saying, look, you got to shoot. And for Wiley was saying, I know, I need your screen to shoot. We saw Joyner have a moment like that yesterday as well, where she got frustrated and vocal with her teammates. Tessa Johnson loses that one. Here comes for Wiley with numbers. Williams coughs it up and out of bounds. Hey, men's college basketball continues, 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. It'll be number 10, Texas Tech taking on BYU.
That pass didn't look like it was all that hard to handle from Michaela Williams.
Looked like she just dropped it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 turnovers for LSU. McDaniel working behind Edwards. McKeer, the spin. Good no call. McDaniel finds Edwards, who lays it in.
Really nice offensive possession by South Carolina, making LSU work defensively.
Largest lead of the quarter for South Carolina. Edwards coming off 21 in the quarterfinals. Shot clock is turned off. Richard on the drive, lays it in at the buzzer. And that'll do it for the first. South Carolina, a 4-point lead after 1 in the SEC semis. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team.
Such a good job here so far in this game. She's pushed pace. She's run her lane in transition. She's got 10 points, hasn't missed, has also gotten to the free throw line. And Ryan, yesterday in the game against Kentucky, she had 6 assists. She also drew 5 fouls. So not only getting herself to the line, but trying to get the opponent into foul trouble can be a really impactful way to play, and she's been able to do that.
Holly Rowe.
The transfer portal is one thing, but Taniyah Latson came into South Carolina, and she was already best friends with Raven Johnson. They were high school teammates, won a high school national championship in 2021 at Westlake High School in Atlanta, and that relationship has been impactful. I've already seen it several times in this game. They can just look at each other and make a point or a head nod, and the other knows exactly what they should be doing. Taniyah has fit in seamlessly, and Dawn Staley said she's been a great addition to this roster.
Seen her passing really expand, her defending grow. All things that help with the WNBA draft. One of the reasons why she went to South Carolina as Richard banks that in.
We talked about South Carolina having gone with their smaller lineup. We see that from LSU here as well. Zakiya Johnson playing the 5, Michaela Williams the 4. Both of them are actually 3s.
Tessa Johnson can't hit. Here comes Williams. Michaela Williams, the spin and the finish. What a move from Michaela Williams. After Kim Mulkey called out Michaela Williams coming off the floor at the end of the first quarter. Joyce Edwards gets fouled by Johnson, and free throws here for Edwards. This was the interaction with Kim Mulkey and Michaela Williams at the end of the first quarter. I know what the end of the statement was. I don't know what the beginning of it was. And then here's that spin from Williams.
I mean, the left hand hesitation, get by, then the spin around and finish. Oof.
Kayla Williams, double-double, 3 of her last 4 games after 1 in her first 98 career games. She is part of that incredibly talented junior class.
It just sort of tickles me, Ryan, that these 2 programs and 2 coaches who are known for having dominant bigs inside are playing small ball right now.
Yeah. For Wiley. Oh, what a quick burst. What a take. Malaysia for Wiley storming to the cup. 6 points for Wiley. Off to a much better start here in meeting number 2 against her former team. McKeer can't hit the 3. Great effort from Edwards, but Richard comes up with it. LSU with numbers. Richard. Here's Williams directing traffic verbally. 2 defenders come. Johnson a 3. Back ironing off. Big time effort, Zakiya Johnson. And she traveled in the aftermath.
Malaysia for Wiley, driving right. Joyce Edwards right there, stays upright. For Wiley absorbing a little bit of that contact and still finishing.
23-22, LSU leads it. They have not beaten South Carolina since 2012. Edwards has it taken away by Wiley. Wiley racing to the rim, cups it home. Dawn Staley as aware as anybody of the way Wiley can change a game. 8 points off the bench for Malaysia. Raven Johnson off to Edwards, back to Raven. She'll fire and hit. How good has Raven Johnson been her senior year?
The confidence with which she shoots the basketball from deep now. It doesn't matter if she has a defender nearby. If she's got a good look, she's taking it.
Kayla Williams hesitated for a moment. Looking to drive it instead. Zakiya Johnson gets denied. Edwards on the rejection. Edwards pull up. No. Here comes Wiley. Wiley gets fouled. And Malaysia Wiley will shoot 2.
Malaysia Wiley just gets her hands on the basketball, and no one is quicker in the open floor. And then Raven Johnson. Richard's right there, and Raven Johnson's just shooting the ball with so much confidence now. Terrific fingertip block by Joyce Edwards on the other end.
For Wiley having herself quite the half. Now 9 points off the bench. Topped her scoring from the first meeting between these teams. Make it 10 for Wiley, the 2-point LSU lead. Wiley, one of 2 players in Division I averaging over 3 steals and 1 block. The other is Sarah Strong. See the bench advantage for LSU. Edwards trying to save it. Could not. Out of bounds to LSU. 4th turnover for South Carolina. South Carolina has won each of the last 3 SEC tournaments. LSU has not won it since 2003. Here's Wiley, zipping through the lane. Malaysia giving South Carolina the full Wiley in this first half. Points off the bench for Malaysia Wiley as Latson gets fouled by Knox.
Maybe the question in this game is who can guard Malaysia, because in this first half, it's been hard to find an answer to that. Just her quickness, her explosiveness, her ability to elevate and finish.
You see the difference from the first meeting to today for the Columbia native and the former Gamecock, Malaysia Fulwiley. Asked on Staley, what do you say to Malaysia about this meeting? Just play like you did yesterday. Keep doing your thing. Before the first meeting, Kim said she talked to Malaysia and she said, hey, I hope you're feeling some nerves. You should be. It's only human nature, and that means you care. A program that Malaysia won a championship with. Fulwiley misfires there. Koval off the bench. Another chance for Fulwiley. Short on that one. Williams the rebound. Fulwiley gonna give it up this time. Richard will fire. No. Caught the rebound.
South Carolina in a zone in that possession and gives up multiple offensive rebounds, having a harder time boxing out.
LSU made 13 threes yesterday, their most since 2014. Latson leaves it short, and Flau'jae Johnson lets it tilt out of bounds. 4:53 to go in the second. LSU a three-point lead. How about Malaysia?
She has been incredible. 12 points already in this first half. The quickness, explosiveness to the rim. Feeling good about it.
Also, the other matchups going on around the country.
Hi, Christine, Drea, Chene, thank you very much. You see the numbers for Latson and Fulwiley thus far in this first half. Latson was the distributor yesterday, the scorer today. Fulwiley providing a big burst off the bench. Let's get it to Holly Rowe for a little huddle report. Holly?
Well, Dawn Staley did a lot of talk about defense in the huddle just then. She said they've got a straight line to the basket right now, and we've got to use our help defense more effectively. If you get beat, you've got to move. We've got to gap them right now. She also mentioned matching up better in transition defense. A lot of conversation between the players on how they can communicate better and improve the defense right now.
All right, thank you, Hal. Williams baseline jumper rims out. Edwards battling and winning the board.
South Carolina in that last possession still in their zone defense. One of the reasons you go zone, if you're having trouble keeping your player in front of you, trying to keep them out of the paint.
Here's Latson, 8 to shoot. Raven Johnson pulls from the mid-range, short. Richard the rebound. Fulwiley with space in transition, throws it away. Edwards on the steal. Here's Joyce Edwards. Off to Tessa, her three is good.
LSU had done a nice job on Tessa Johnson in the quarter court. That time in transition, she was able to get free.
Tied at 29, Flau'jae, no. Edwards the rebound. Here's Tessa. This time gonna drive it. And that's going to be an offensive foul called as Koval took the contact. That'll be a first on Tessa Johnson.
Tessa Johnson is so good at going to the corner in transition. And you've got Joyce Edwards making the steal, pushing the ball up. There goes Tessa to find her spot where she can be deadly, drains that one, and then she's trying to get the ball to the opposite corner. Koval right there to take it.
Tied at 29 in a scintillating opening half between LSU and South Carolina. Ole Miss and Texas up next. Here's Koval. And a travel. Well, the ACC Women's Tournament continues tomorrow. What a fun championship game that will be. The 1 seed Duke, the 2 seed Louisville, meeting at 1 Eastern on ESPN. Following that, it will be the SEC Championship right here at 3 Eastern on ESPN. Here's Edwards. Okot got 2 early fouls, now back in. Johnson connects. Flaugier looking to answer, cannot. Williams the rebound. Williams puts it in.
LSU has been so good at getting those second opportunities, in particular against the zone, the offensive boards.
Here's Edwards, kicking it out. Raven Johnson, back iron it off. Joyner back in, hugs the rebound. Richard quickly head to Fulwiley. Fulwiley got denied by Edwards. Good contest from the sophomore. Here's Okai. Banks it up and off. Lats in the O board. And the putback. South Carolina, 3-point lead. 1:45 to go in the second. Joyner lays it in on a beautiful delivery from Flaugier.
What a bounce pass, low to the ground so it can get under defenders' hands, right to Joyner.
And a timeout taken by Dawn Staley with 1:25 to go in the second.
Flaugier Johnson delivers the basketball on the money. Just a low little bounce away from the defender's hands.
Fantastic semifinal matchup here in the SEC tournament between LSU and South Carolina. The Gamecocks, a 1-point lead. South Carolina's largest lead in this first half, 6. LSU's 4. A tightly played opening half between these two powers. South Carolina projected 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. LSU a 2. But could get to a 1 potentially if they were to win the SEC tournament. It's not off the table. Raven leaves it short. Here comes Williams. Off to Fulwiley. Bella Hines. Finally in. Fulwiley, a deep one. You bet! Fulwiley with 15 first half points, and LSU's first 3 of the game after they missed their first 8 attempts. It ping-pongs around and ends up out of bounds off of the Gamecocks.
There's a Fulwiley, that's WNBA range. No one near her, just steps into it. Big smile and point to the front row over here.
About a 15-second difference, game and shot clock. Richard attacks, dishes. Joyner, the hook is good. LSU back up by 4, matching their largest lead. And now Raven Johnson, the steady leader for this offense, knows it's time to hold for a final shot. Just a slight difference, game and shot clock.
Bella Hines just completely trying to deny Tessa Johnson.
Here's Edwards, finding the cutter, Tessa Johnson, who lays it in. 5 seconds left, still time for LSU. Richard through the lane, gives it up. Joyner banks it in. Counting at the horn, and LSU takes a 4-point lead into the half.
Great drive and dish and recognition of how much time is on the clock in the last possession by LSU. Joyner certainly gets it off in time.
Kim Mulkey fired up because she knows she's about to
focus in the first quarter of this one, and it was a full team effort. Not only a primary defender, but help side was coming. Tessa Johnson held scoreless in the first quarter. Well, you can't keep her down the entire half. She gets finally a clean look in transition, and since then she has found her groove a little bit. 8 points in that second quarter, and then for LSU, Mylasia Fulwiley. The Jets, when she can get a touch and her feet in the paint, good things happen for LSU. It's been in transition, it's been in the quarter court. Very difficult to defend. Even the touch in the paint, sprays the ball out, gets it back, steps confidently into the wide open 3. Mylasia Fulwiley just so good in that first half.
Take a look at the game summary. South Carolina's first halftime deficit of this tournament since 2019. South Carolina has won the last 18 meetings between these schools, and Malaysia Fulwiley starts the second half for LSU as they start small. Fulwiley can't wrap that one in, and Raven Johnson comes up with it. South Carolina also hampered by the foul trouble of Okad in that first half. Here is Edwards twisting inside, missed the layup, rebound, back to Edwards, push shot is good. Flage, and that's out of bounds off of LSU.
We talked about LSU starting small. That's puts Michaela Williams as the primary defender on Joyce Edwards. Last possession, Joyce was able to get a good little look. They go right at her again.
Edwards has it stripped by Williams. Richard digs it up, running with Fulwiley, and that last hit, Richard. And Richard right away shakes her head at Kim Mulkey, says, no, don't appeal that. Last hit me. Good D from Tessa Johnson coming back into the play. Okad kicks it out. Latson. Richard at the deck. Latson gets denied by Fulwiley. Here comes Flage. Flage up under and off. Good defense from the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, Raven Johnson. Tessa loses it. Williams at three. No. Rebound, knocked out of bounds. It'll stay here.
Talked about Malaysia Fulwiley and her defense in that first half. Not only the steals, but the blocks that she can get just with her elevation.
Fulwiley short on that one. Okad the rebound. Edwards running. Follows it up and puts it in. Plus the foul.
What a sort of helter-skelter start here to the third quarter.
With a lot of misses at the rim, too.
Yes. I think you might be seeing a little bit, you know, this is the second game in 2 days. Fast-paced first half. But Joyce Edwards stays with it. Gets a chance for the and one.
Second foul on Michaela Williams as Edwards puts South Carolina back in front. Largest lead of the game for South Carolina was 6. Largest for LSU, 4. Tightly contested in the SEC semifinals. Raven Johnson, the denial.
Raven Johnson just moves her feet, comes over, uses those long arms. She is an excellent shot blocker from the guard position.
Here is Williams. Williams bodying in, fading away, and getting the roll. Latson finds Okad, waiting, can't finish it. Joyner was a factor. Here comes Richard. Latson denies her. Talked about the improved defense of Tania Latson. Here is Richard working behind Joyner. Flage a 3. Rims off. LSU just 1 of 11 from 3. That was a storyline in the first meeting between these teams. Raven Johnson tears through. "12 points for Raven Johnson, who has averaged a career high over 10 a game this season. Fulwiley, no.
I don't think Kim Mulkey loved that decision. No. She was waving her arms like she was landing a plane after that miss by Fulwiley.
Tessa rims off. She was given the incomplete pass signal.
She wasn't landing a plane?
I think she wanted Fulwiley to land it. Here's Flaugier. Giving it up. Joyner puts it on the deck. Little push shot. Won't go.
The experience of the veteran Raven Johnson slowing things down, understanding that South Carolina wants to run a set here.
Dawn Staley told us that first meeting played in the 70s. Said that's good for us against LSU. LSU's 22-0 this season when scoring 80 or more. Raven Johnson connects. Another three for Raven. Fulwiley can't finish. Ocott the rebound. Building ready to pop. Edwards, deep catch. Lost it out of bounds. LSU basketball. Grace Knox, Zakiya Johnson will check in for LSU. And Maddie McDaniel getting ready to check in for South Carolina. We will step aside. Raven Johnson is cooking.
She's been so good. She gets double teamed and then somehow finds herself wide open and finishes. Sandwiched, no more. And then coming down, contested heavily by Fulwiley. It doesn't matter. Raven Johnson holding the pose.
Eastern. South Carolina, LSU tussling in a tight one. Hilasia Fulwiley, Raven Johnson, each with 15 points. Fulwiley, though, 0 for 4 here in this third. South Carolina, 4-point lead. Winner of this game will face the winner of Texas Ole Miss up next here from Greenville.
South Carolina playing zone here again. It was effective for them except for on the glass in the first half.
Richard fires and hits from 3. Big one for LSU. They had been 1 of 12 from downtown. Tessa Johnson can't hit. Ocott and a foul. Gonna stay here. Before the putback, Grace Knox gets whistled for the personal. I think Dawn Staley's saying, don't call that, let her have the rebound and the putback. Second foul on Grace Knox. Ocott leaves it short. Williams couldn't grab it. On the floor for it. Richard and McDaniel, and the possession arrow belongs with South Carolina. LSU has lost 18 straight to South Carolina. It's hard to believe when you consider how juicy this rivalry has been in recent years and how close the games have been. But they haven't won since 2012. Ocott finds Johnson laying it in.
Hilasia Fulwiley turned her head once Ocott caught the ball, and then Raven Johnson wisely, as soon as your defender turns her head, cuts to the basket, gets the ball back.
Richard against the zone, throws it away. That pass didn't have a chance. Tessa will fire. No. And then a steal from Johnson. Tessa Johnson gets fouled by Williams. That'll be the third on Michaela Williams. Free throws for Tessa Johnson.
Watch Raven Johnson here. As soon as she passes the ball, Fulwiley turns her head, just doesn't even hesitate. Raven doesn't. Puts her arm up in the air, cuts to the basket, knows she's going to be wide open, and Ocott with a nice pass to her.
LSU now with 11 turnovers. You know, these teams in the first meeting each had just 9 turnovers in that game. Tessa Johnson at the line. This is the first of Thursday on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Our next SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament at 6 Eastern. You'll get never-before-seen footage, sound from the players and coaches. It's a really great inside look at the teams in this conference. If you haven't watched it, highly recommend. Richard firing again. That one rims off. Stays here, but South Carolina may appeal it.
Their video guy has his finger in the air the whole time, and then when he sees it, he starts doing the twirly bird.
Beard don't lie. Yeah, looks like a last-ditch joiner. We'll find out in a moment. Well, Hudson Jacobs is the man tasked with saying whether or not to appeal a call. The director of women's basketball video services for South Carolina.
And I mean, every person has sort of their system. His is to have the finger in the air, and as soon as he has a definitive answer, yes, it's time to go to the replay, and this is why it clearly goes off of LSU.
And you hear the crowd reacting as they make that announcement. D, pretty definitive there, right? And yeah, Dawn dapping up Hudson saying, thank you, my man.
It is definitive, and one thing that's also important is that the officials are methodical in putting that ball back in play. Because as soon as they hand the ball to the opposing team, you can't appeal any longer. So if there's doubt, the officials should be a little more laconic, methodical, putting the ball back in play.
I want to know what Dawn Staley's reaction and all coaches, what their reactions are if the video person gets it wrong. That's a stressful job.
Raven Johnson off to McDaniel. 4 to shoot. Raven on the drive. McDaniel a 3. You bet! Largest lead of the game for South Carolina on an 11-3 run. Richard connects from deep. 2 big threes in this third from Jada Richard.
McDaniel down the other way, and it starts with Raven Johnson. The dribble penetration, that's a tough pass out. Maddie McDaniel has just been so good for South Carolina, especially the last couple of weeks. She takes care of the basketball. She assists to teammates. She just brings something a little bit different off the bench for South Carolina.
And it was about a month and a half ago, Dawn Staley said to us, hey, talk about Mousy. She's coming, meaning Maddie McDaniel. Left that one short. Okad can't bank it in. Rebound Edwards, another chance for South Carolina. Raven Johnson connects. Joyner gets denied. Okot. Banker won't go. Good box out there from Richard on the bigger Edwards. Richard on the drive. What a bounce back game for Jada Richard against South Carolina. 14 points. She has their last 8 after she was 1 of 10 in the first meeting.
But that was the first possession in this quarter where LSU has really been able to push pace and transition, and that's where they can be so good.
Tessa Johnson, little pull-up mid-range is good. For Wiley, with the answer. About an 18-second difference game in shot clock here for Wiley now with 17 points. McDaniel giving it up. Oh, God. Not that time. She's become a very good three-point shooter. LSU has the shot clock turned off. For Wiley doesn't realize it. For Wiley lays it in. Kim Mulkey shaking her head, knowing South Carolina gets a chance at a possession here. Raven Johnson fading and hitting. And that's why Kim Mulkey was shaking her head and LSU not holding for the final shot. Raven Johnson, a career-high 22 points, and there's still a quarter to play.
Joyce Edwards, you can make a bounce pass from the seat of your pants, and then South Carolina moving the basketball around. Raven Johnson has been money today for South Carolina. Manages the game perfectly. No time left on the clock. 5-point lead. Or that quarter beautifully for her South Carolina team.
Dawn was talking with us earlier in the year. You see Ravens tied a career high and made threes. LSU just 3 for 15 from three, all of them uncontested. And she said, no, social media hasn't known, but if you know basketball, you know the game, you know Raven Johnson's value. And the way she has blossomed this season has just been incredible. And Dawn was talking to us yesterday about just how proud she is of Raven, for her to weather the storm, to weather the different criticism that she had gotten over the years, to come through that and be able to have the success that she has had. And you know what? She came back to South Carolina for an additional year, and there is no doubt it did wonders for her draft stock this coming year as well.
Oh, without question. And she is a much improved player this season, just in terms of her confidence when looking for her own shots.
Dowda flips it in. South Carolina has matched their largest lead. It is 7. Richard, little pull-up, off, out of bounds. South Carolina ball.
I think South Carolina was in a man-to-man, but they could have been in a box-and-one on Richard. Richard's the one player who's been able to hit a few from deep in the second half.
She has 2 of the 3 threes LSU has made. Meanwhile, South Carolina 7 of 15 from 3. Waxon picking her way through. Can't hit. Good box out there. Williams has been mostly quiet in this game. Michaela Williams with 6 points. Flau'jae Johnson, 1 of 8 from the floor, has just 6 points. Can they get going? Knox denied. Joyner there for the follow.
LSU goes to their wing pick and roll against the man-to-man and able to hit the roller.
Now remember, the first meeting between these teams is Johnson short on a 3. Michaela Williams and Flau'jae had really struggled until midway through the 4th. They got going, and so did LSU. But right now, it's Knox running free for the lay. As the ball back down 1 possession.
As the ball was rolling around the rim, Grace Knox put both hands on her head like, oh no! And then the sigh of relief when it went in.
McDaniel, knocked out, stays here. And Raven Johnson and Medina Okot back in for South Carolina.
South Carolina able to keep LSU out of transition for most of the 3rd quarter. There it is, rolling around the rim. Grace Knox running the floor. Look at her. Oh no, okay.
Joyner checks out for LSU. And I'm not sure she was supposed to. Now, Kim Mulkey sending her right back to the scorer's table. Joyner was confused. Here's Okot. Misses the layup. And here comes LSU for Wiley. Across her body and in. 21 for Malaysia Fulwiley and a 6-0 run for LSU. Fulwiley, a career high 19 field goal attempts in this game. And I think what Joyner was once Kim saw that Okot was coming in, realized she wanted Joyner on the floor. And a whistle here. Foul on Fulwiley. That'll be Malaysia's second.
LSU has been so much more productive when they can get numbers or just get out in transition. They don't even have numbers. The one number they need in transition is Malaysia Fulwiley's 23. Just going across her body and able to finish. LSU's been able to pick up the pace the last few possessions.
You see the difference for Malaysia. Her second game against her former team versus her struggles on Valentine's Day. Now Flaugier is checked out. Joyner in as Kim Mulkey decides not to stay small with Okot back into the game for South Carolina. Fulwiley will pull and hit. This game is tied at 63. South Carolina has won 18 in a row against LSU. Here is Latson. Edwards muscles it inside and off the window. Edwards now with 12 points, 9 boards. Williams rims off. Good box out from Tessa Johnson. Tessa gonna attack this time. Fading away, can't hit. Okot on the glass. Looked like she shuffled the feet, no call. And now a 3-second violation instead. And LSU will take a timeout.
Malaysia Fulwiley just crossing over. Raven Johnson stuck under the screen. Fulwiley hates it, hits it.
Outstanding semifinal game between LSU and South Carolina. South Carolina, the 2-point lead, 6:10 to go. See LSU under Kim Mulkey, they've been fantastic since she took over. The team they've struggled most against, no doubt, is South Carolina. They are 0-6, and the point total drops off the table. Flaugier on the bench. Knox, Williams, Richard, Joyner, Fulwiley. Here's Michaela Williams, didn't get a whistle. Tessa Johnson out there with Raven, Okot, Edwards, and Latson. Raven dumps it out. Okot, 1 of 11 from the floor, but hits that.
She almost did a full 360 pirouette before deciding to take that shot. So comfortable facing the basket.
Just 4 points, but has 12 boards. Fulwiley dancing, dishing. Williams can't hit. Michaela Williams with a great look. Now 3 of 10 from the floor. Edwards with a runway dumps it in. 6-0 South Carolina run. Richard with space. Drains the 3. Her 3rd of the game. And Kim Mulkey will take a timeout. Fulwiley, very emphatic in her communication there with Knox and Kim Mulkey.
Really nice job by Grace Knox to find Richard out of the post. Richard feeling it. She's had a nice little game for herself here today.
17 points as we check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, Kim Mulkey was going to a high school basketball game to watch Michaela Williams play, and she knew about Jada Richard, but in that particular game, those two women were playing against each other. Jada dropped 39 points. Her high school team won the game against Michaela Williams' team, and she's like, I gotta have her. She's loved this point guard. Sometimes they call her a mini Mulkey. She's got a lot of fire in her veins. Kim loves the way she plays, and she has stepped up in the biggest moment of their season tonight. She is doing a great job.
Well, Richard has done that after going 1 for 10 in the first meeting between these teams.
And she is so good when she can get to her mid-range and hit the floater, but she's also today been able to hit from deep. We saw it both against man-to-man and against zone. Nice little boost for LSU's offense from the guard position.
17 for Richard. Here's Latson. Latson diving in and laying it home. Latson now with 15. The lead is 5 for South Carolina with 4:35 to play in the semis. Richard off to Joyner. Joyner put it on the deck, got blocked by Edwards. Not sure that's the offense LSU wants. Raven Johnson settling into the possession. Handoff Latson, her three. Off the mark, Richard the rebound. LSU looking to run for Wiley. Spinning through traffic, finds Knox, who gets fouled. And Knox will shoot 2 on an excellent setup for Wiley. LSU sideline. Here was some animation. You see the conversation going on. Grace Knox and then Michaela Williams and Flauget saying, let's go, let's go. And then Bob Starkey pushing away Michaela Williams, and you can see Michaela saying, get off me. So things getting a little testy on that LSU sideline.
Flauget Johnson remains on the bench. She's struggled a little bit in terms of making shots here today. Only 1 of 8 on the day.
And Rebecca, do you feel like if you're Kim Mulkey, you got to find your way with Flauget back on the floor, though, in these final minutes?
I think so. It's hard, though, because who do you take out? Richard has been so good. Wiley has been good. Michaela Williams has been solid.
Could go to your 4-guard lineup if you wanted. Latson gets fouled. And Latson will go to the line. Richard picks up her second, because it's not like you're getting stops right now anyway, trying to match up to the size of Edwards and Okad. Why not make them try and guard you small and get your best player back on the floor?
Yeah, try to get out. She was talking about the speed she got from that lineup in the first half in her interview with Holly. You got to corral the board first, though, and that's the hard part with the small lineup.
The other thing we did see from Flauget, she struggled most of that first meeting and then was fantastic in the final minutes bringing them back until those missed free throws. But it was her who was driving the run. The lead is 6 for South Carolina. Knox pounding it inside, can't finish. Raven will wheel it back out, run some clock.
She has really managed this entire game well, but in particular, these moments here in the fourth quarter, making sure she sets the offense and gets people in their right positions.
Edwards loses it, and now Flauget will check in for Grace Knox, and Kim will go to the 4-guard lineup.
I don't think Kim Mulkey loved the decision last possession by Grace Knox, attacking the basket off the drive.
So you have small lineup for LSU against big lineup for South Carolina. Under 3 to go, 6-point Gamecock lead. Joyner dribbled it off the foot of Okot. Latson in transition, can't finish it. Edwards can. Williams, they need it. They've got it. And LSU will take a timeout. And we'll have just one remaining. Huge three there from Williams. LSU started 0 of 8 from three. They're now 6 for their last 11.
Malaysia for a while, they had the dribble penetration and then passing the ball back out to Michaela Williams where she has all that time. LSU now with one timeout left. They took one here. Remember, they took one right around the 5-minute mark.
South Carolina's won 18 straight against LSU. Rebecca, you and I see this all the time in college basketball. Coaches do not value being able to advance the basketball nearly as much as it seems like they should in close games. I mean, you're down 5, 2:24 to go with just one timeout remaining. Obviously, the ability to advance could totally come into play, which you can only do if you have timeouts.
Yeah, Kim Mulkey might want to have her team extend their pressure.
Yep.
Might want to have them set up, try to get a steal here. But also with the appeal process, the way it is in college basketball now, and you're needing a timeout or maybe losing a timeout if you get one wrong. It's just tough to have this much time left in the game and only one timeout left.
But as you said, we've seen it throughout the years. Kim Mulkey prioritizes setting up her defense in moments like this. South Carolina, 5-point lead.
Kim Mulkey telling her team, come up, you're supposed to be in full court defense.
Raven Johnson, a career high 22 points, 9 of 13 shooting, also has 5 assists. Edwards, too easy. That's where the size advantage helps out South Carolina.
Great play call by Dawn Staley, attacking the mismatch.
18 and 11 for Edwards. For Wiley, what a pass to Knox. Five-point game, 1:50 to go. SEC semifinals championship tomorrow, 3 Eastern on ESPN. Raven Johnson bouncing. O'Con lays it in. For Wiley, throws it away. Raven Johnson, no, still some life for LSU. Down 7, need a bucket in a hurry. Williams can't float it in, but gets the whistle. And Michaela Williams will go to the line to shoot 2.
Out of the timeout, just a simple little pin down screen by Joyce Edwards, and then she posts up, takes advantage of the mismatch. I think South Carolina's had really good game management down the stretch. You saw the beautiful pass by Full Wiley. And then here, it's just the on-ball screen after Raven Johnson had dribbled away much of the shot clock. Uses the on-ball, delivers it to Okot. Subsequent possession, dribbled down the shot clock, used the on-ball screen, and then Raven took and missed the mid-range pull-up. But terrific game management by South Carolina.
Williams hits them both. 5-point game. Timeout, South Carolina. With 45 seconds remaining. LSU and South Carolina once again putting on a show here in Greenville as we welcome you to our booth. Once again, Ryan Ruocco, the Hall of Famer, Rebecca Lobo. Up next, it'll be Texas Ole Miss, the other SEC semifinal. South Carolina's made the plays when they've had to down the stretch of this game. The game management you talked about here from LSU. Can't really play it out anymore with just a 15-second differential. Going to have to pressure and go for a turnover.
Yeah, certainly. I think, you try to get the 5-second call, then you try to get a tie-up, and if you can't get that, then you start playing the foul game.
Rebecca, with such a good opponent, it is just unusual for a team to win this many straight games against such stiff competition. But here South Carolina is on the brink of a 19th straight win against LSU. Raven Johnson gives it up. LSU not fouling, letting a lot of time wind down. Still not fouling. Okad kicks it out. Raven Johnson wisely waits. I mean, LSU does not have time to play out the entire possession as South Carolina takes a timeout now. I don't understand that strategy from LSU, Rebecca.
Especially since LSU only has 2 fouls. You've got to foul again. But how about Raven Johnson? There was a point there where she was triple teamed and still able to get the ball to an open teammate, then go get it back.
I mean, unless LSU thinks their better shot is a stop and then down 5 with the ball, 15 seconds left and 1 timeout. But
you can only advance once because you have the 1 timeout.
Exactly. Little surprised at playing that straight up. And again, the game management. South Carolina played that perfectly. Raven Johnson will inbound. Gets it into Okad. Okad surrounded. 1 to shoot, and Okad beats the shot clock. A huge fist bump from Dawn Staley. She knows it's over. Williams' 3 is good. A 4-point game with 8.9 to go.
Out of that timeout, South Carolina gets the ball to Okad, holds it, lets time go off the clock before she takes the shot with 1 second left. How smart was that? Just the extra 4 seconds you let run off the clock.
And Kim Mulkey knows that is the likely dagger. Williams 3 extends it for the moment. But 8.9 to go. South Carolina with the ball up by 4. South Carolina trying to make it 19 straight wins. So South Carolina, oh my goodness, wait, LSU called a timeout after that made 3?
Yes, at 8.9 after scoring that basket, Kim asked for a timeout. She gets that, and she used her last timeout. Obviously, Dawn waited to the end of that timeout and used her timeout to use option to advance.
Now, the South Carolina timeout makes sense here. Advance the basketball, make the inbound easier, not under your own hoop. Why on earth would LSU spend their final timeout there, down 4 with 8.9 to go, and now have no shot to advance the basketball?
I don't know, other than Kim Mulkey did not feel like perhaps she could communicate to her team that they needed to foul.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very confusing decision.
It's one, as a referee, you look at them and go, are you sure?
Right. With none remaining now.
Yes.
Because the idea you're going to be able to get up and down the floor with no timeouts to make up a 4, you need 2 possessions to make up a 4-point deficit. It's just. But here's South Carolina with the ball, 8.9 to go. leading by 4. Into Latson. Latson will lay it in. That will do it. 6-point game. For Wiley will launch. South Carolina makes it 19 straight against LSU. The Gamecocks are headed back to the SEC title game.
A great balanced attack by South Carolina. 4 players in double figures. Terrific game management the entire time, but in particular the last few minutes of the game, and a massive performance from Raven Johnson.
Raven Johnson, a career high 22 points, also had 8 assists.